It's crazy. I created the gun vault because I wanted to do something, and you know what? I wanted to. I quit policing. I wanted to do something meaningful,
Hmm.
and so I love photography. I love guns, and I love the firearm community because they're so incredible. These people, and I get together with this group, and next thing you know, I'm photographing guns, and people like the photography, and I start to do little write-ups because I miss writing narratives and reports, and then I suddenly realized, like, you know what, this is kind of cool. I could do this. It's like kind of like a magazine, and I wanted to give people a place that they could come, you know, that they could enjoy firearms. You know, it seemed to be lacking out there a place where you could go to. There's plenty of other Instagram sites that were gun related, but there didn't seem to be a place that I found that was like for enthusiasts on Instagram. And I mean, what a shame! It's the fastest growing social media on the planet. You know, my generation was more Facebook. I didn't want to go on Instagram. Like, you know, I resisted that movement. And as you know, as time went on, I realized that Instagram was kind of what Facebook used to be, which was very simple. You would post a picture, and that would be it. And people would like it or dislike it and move on. And it was a great way to showcase both the art and the firearm community, which I thought was fantastic. You know, and to do little write-ups and to see the personality and the fun that goes on out there, because that was, I think, our biggest problem as a community is we kind of kept it shut out and shut off rather from the people that weren't involved in it. And that's changed, and people are bringing out their friends now more often, and that's, I think, in part some of the explanation for the explosion in growth in the firearm community. Like, it's grown so fast because people are realizing how cool it is, and they're enjoying it, and they're getting out there and they're doing it, and they're bringing their friends, and then their friends are realizing how much fun it is, and that it's totally an obtainable goal. You know, that you know, you have no criminal record, you've been out of trouble your whole life, you know, you have the financial means, which probably means you're working. You know, if you're going to own a firearm, you know, it's expensive to run it, to buy it, to get the license for it, to take the training courses that are mandatory in order to get your license. You know, you have to invest you know, a substantial amount of money. So this isn't for people that aren't hardworking, or, you know, if they have the disposable income and they want to do it that badly and they've never been in trouble, why not let them? You know, that's a great thing about firearm ownership is you know, you're pretty much guaranteed that everybody there at the range is going to be, you know, in all likelihood, an outstanding citizen, you know, a good person, you know, hopefully an intelligent one and a responsible one, and I mean, if you're not, you lose the license. So it's pretty simple, you know. But you know, so I created the Gun Vault for people to come and see everything that's out there, because, you know, like, I think the public is completely unaware of what you can own and what you can't own, and what we find cool about it. And if you're never exposed to something, you don't know anything about it, and it's scary. And if it's portrayed as scary in film, you know, if all you read about in the newspaper is somebody getting shot, and you don't know anything about guns, and you don't have anything to do with guns, you may just, you know, put your hands up and say, well, guns are bad, and I'm supportive of any law that bans guns. Well, I mean, it's an uneducated sort of statement. If you don't know anything about something and you've never even experienced it, I would suggest you get to the range. You know, the people that I brought to the range thoroughly enjoy themselves. These are reasonable, rational, logical, fun, intelligent people that I brought to the range. I don't bring idiots to the range. You know, you bring your friends. Hopefully, you know, your responsible friends. Everybody's got an irresponsible one. You don't bring him. You leave him at home, right? You know, these people are going out in droves and they're enjoying this thing, and nobody's getting hurt. And yet, it always seems like the laws are geared towards affecting those people that obey them, and really, again, not having any significant impact on crime over here. And you look at, you know, some of the way the laws are geared, and I'm looking even now at this magazine. You know, like, there's a gun called the SPOS 12, and I talk about this a lot on the page. You know, various guns that are considered prohibited classes. There's a SPOS 12, and I mean, it's an ugly shotgun. I look sometimes through these old magazines, and I see what we used to be able to own, you know, and you look through it and you go, you know, like, there's a lot of cool things in here you're not allowed to own in Canada anymore. You know, things that firearm owners would want for various reasons, you know, whether they have historical significance, you know, in military history, and they just, you know, going through the book, you see things that you're not allowed to have, and other countries have it, and have legitimate ownership of these items, and they never get used in crimes. So, you know, I'm looking at the SPOS 12, and the determination was made that this is illegal to own. And I mean, it's ugly, and it's got all these holes drilled in it. It looks like something from, like, the Aliens movie, and it looks menacing to somebody who's never seen one before, and would say, "Ooh, that looks dangerous." And truth be told, in the '80s, the running joke is that they banned every gun from every action movie in the 1980s. This gun was carried, by the Terminator. It was in Jurassic Park. It was in all these fantastic, blockbuster films. It was, carried by our heroes and villains alike. And I mean, to collect something like that is actually really cool. And for firearms owners and for people that like firearms, you gravitate towards things like that. Doesn't mean that I want to go on a killing spree. It doesn't mean that I have some warped sense of reality and I want to, relive some deranged moment, and do something crazy like a scene out of a movie. But what it does mean, though, is I appreciate pop culture, and I appreciate history, and I appreciate technological evolution. Again, for many people, these are functioning works of art, and I mean, some of them are ugly, by some people's standards, and maybe menacing looking, but they're no more dangerous than the ones that are allowed today, and have been used, without any difficulty by legal firearms owners. So this shotgun holds, 7 rounds, which of course they would probably restrict to 5 with a plug, because that's the way the laws work in Canada. A lot of people don't understand that. Our magazine capacities are restricted. Semi-automatic firearms can't have more than 5 rounds in them if they're rifles or shotguns. So you're restricted to the number of rounds that can come out of these things. So if you've got a traditional hunting rifle that holds 5 rounds, and this thing holds 5 rounds, and it fires the exact same shell, and it goes down the same barrel length, and it generates the same velocity, and it's mechanically the same gun in principle. It doesn't do anything else that's any more deadly, and this has been banned, and I want to own this, and people are paying big money for this, even though it may not be the most well-made shotgun compared to some others. It has value, it has collectability in countries like the US and overseas, and I want to collect that, and there's no reason why I can't own that. So it makes me wonder why I'm still obeying that law, but I do, because it's the law. And so instead of breaking the law, I'd like to change the law. And I think that the best way to do that is to reach people and educate them about what's happened. The last time that batch of laws went through, we didn't have social media. They pushed them through kind of fast, and we really didn't have a chance to react as a firearm community. That's changed now, with social media, with the internet. We're collectively able to kind of gather our thoughts and prepare ourselves. The page is part of that. I created an Instagram page to educate the public, to entertain people, to give people a place that they can come to ask questions. Getting into firearms can be a very intimidating thing in itself, because it's so technical. You have all these numbers, and when people talk firearms around people that don't understand them or aren't familiar with them, it may sound like a foreign language to it, like all these numbers and barrel lengths and letters and models and makes, and somebody who's not familiar with it, it sounds like, I'm sure, ancient Greek. But for the people who talk firearms, who really appreciate firearms, these numbers mean something, and quite often they're things that they really enjoy. Dare I say, love. To have a healthy respect for firearms is really important. To have them regulated, absolutely. To make laws that make sense, so that we're not unnecessarily punishing good people. That to me makes good sense. I've got a large 25-pound cat walking around me right now. It refuses to give up on getting some attention tonight. So I'm sorry. I'm going to just take a moment. But I look at what we've got in place currently, and it needs to change. We've been begging for change for 25 years, and it hasn't happened. Now it looks like it's about to happen, but it's going to happen at the hands of people that might want to change the laws in a way that's going to have a huge impact on Canadian gun owners, or the legitimate firearm owners, and not a lot of impact on the criminals. And it's going to cost a lot of money too, and nobody's throwing any numbers out. I don't know specifically what's going to happen, but historically, it's cost a lot of money. It hasn't done the job it was designed to do, and somehow taxpayers are left with the bill. And I think that that's something that definitely historically has happened again and again, so we have to be even more leery of it than ever before. And with this committee being selected, and the nature of the people that they're filling the ranks with, I'm growing increasingly concerned about the proverbial stacking of the deck, if it were. Like, I mean, it looks like they're about to make a bunch of changes again that historically have been very expensive, not cost effective, very resource drawing for the police. As a police officer, there are always things that I was doing that my time probably would have been spent better spent. In another area. This is one of those things that will fall into the scope of duties of a police officer or the administration to monitor these things, to track them in a way that really isn't efficient, or it doesn't serve the desired function of improving public safety. If it's costing a ton of money and it's not doing that thing that the government is trying to tell us it's going to do, then we probably should stop that. And I mean, the way we do that is by educating people and making them aware of it. If we stay silent and no one says anything, we're going to have an issue. Everybody loves to talk about making changes, but you got to get out of your seat and do it.